Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be looking at our second writing argument passage. Here it is. It's called Cholesterol, Friend or Foe. As usual, we're going to be going through this entire passage. We're going to answer all 11 questions so that you understand how to approach these types of passages and are ready to ace the SAT writing section. If you like these videos or find them informative, please be sure to like and subscribe. And with that, let's get started with this passage. Cholesterol is a familiar term in contemporary discussions concerning health and heart disease. Primarily synthesized by our own bodies, the ability to function diversely in cell membranes and various organ systems is one characteristic of this molecule, and one is underlined. So let's see what we can do here. So we have this modifier primarily synthesized by our own bodies, right here. And since it says primarily synthesized by our own bodies, whatever comes here next has to be whatever is primarily synthesized by our own body. That's how modifiers work. Now, the ability to function is not the one synthesized by our own bodies. The cell membranes and various organ systems right here are not synthesized by our bodies. The diverse functions are not synthesized by our bodies. The molecule is synthesized by our own bodies. So since we have the molecule synthesized by our own bodies, this first word here has to be the molecule, which is answer choice D. The molecule is the one that's primarily synthesized by our own body. That's a misplaced modifier question. Go on to our next question, number 2. However, its presence is not profitable in all circumstances. When an individual consumes food that leads to high blood cholesterol levels, significant health complications may result. Well, let's see. They're saying that the presence is not helpful in all circumstances. Does profitable really say that? Profitable really just says earning more money than what you put in, right? You're just getting money. That's really what it means. But that doesn't really have anything to do with being helpful. So that answer choice is incorrect. Now looking at answer choice B, beneficial. Well, beneficial just means it helps something, which is exactly what we want to say, and helpful. It's not helpful. It's not beneficial in all circumstances. So our answer is B. Then we can see charitable, again, that has to do with just donating things. That's not what it's talking about here. And worthy, which just is not the same context and meaning that we're trying to get at right here. Our answer is B. Question 3, and it is it's all the way down here in this next paragraph. Right, make sure you do read this part of the passage when you're really doing the SAT, but if you are stressed for time, you can skip it, or just understand that it will be a bit harder trying to solve the other questions if you have a less deep knowledge of that part of the paragraph that you skipped. But here we have cholesterol molecules have a diverse range of functions within the human body, whether in cell membranes or as part of the nervous, endocrine, or digestive systems. So let's see. So if we have a colon, we're separating two independent clauses. So the nervous, endocrine, and digestive systems. Well, that's not an independent clause. There's no verb. There's no action. So that's incorrect because a colon can't separate an independent and a dependent clause. Same thing with B, because a colon acts like a period. It separates two independent clauses. And then we have part of the nervous, comma, endocrine, or part of the nervous, colon, endocrine, colon. When we're separating items in a series, we always use commas, so our answer is going to be choice C, which has the commas. Go on, and go down here. Furthermore, cholesterol is a key component of the central nervous system, where it primarily existed in the myelin sheaths of nerve cells. These sheaths help increase the speed of nerve impulse transmission. Oh, it's existing in the present, right? Not in the past. So existed is wrong. Was existing and had existed are also past tense. So these are wrong. And we have then the present tense version exists. Furthermore, cholesterol is a key component of the central nervous system, where it primarily exists in the myelin sheaths of nerve cells. That seems to work. Let's keep going. Choice number 5, or question number 5. We have successful nerve impulse transmission depends not only on myelin sheaths, but also on the presence of ion pumps embedded in the cell membrane. All right, let's see what we're going to do with this question. All right, so should we add this to the passage or not? Let's think about it. So we're talking about we're talking about just the myelin sheets and how that relates to cholesterol. This is talking about the presence of ion pumps embedded in the cell membrane. That has nothing to do with cholesterol, so we shouldn't add it, right? So we shouldn't add it. Let's look at our justifications. We have identified the relationship between the nervous system and ion pumps. That has already been discussed. We haven't done that. We haven't even talked about ion pumps yet. Second one, it says it interrupts the paragraph discussion of cholesterol with loosely related information. That's correct. It's barely related. It's completely off topic, and it interrupts our discussion about cholesterol. All right, let's look at the next question. To illustrate the importance of contemporary research on cholesterol, well, and then it says its presence in abnormally high concentrations can result in significant health issues. We're trying to provide the best transition here. That's what we're doing. So we're saying that cholesterol is helpful here, but then here we're saying its presence in abnormally high concentrations can result in significant health issues, which is a problem. So we're saying it's not always good, right? So it's not always good. So which one talks about that? Looks like answer choice B, despite the numerous positive functions of cholesterol. It acknowledges the numerous positive functions of cholesterol and then still sets up a contrast using the word despite. Considering the many sources, even though cholesterol can bind to some proteins, both of those are not as related, and they don't use the right word to illustrate the dynamic between these two sentences. And that's the same with choice A. So now we can move on to question 7. Many researchers believe that certain dietary choices, for example, eating significant amounts of saturated fats and avoiding unsaturated fats, contribute to high cholesterol levels in the bloodstream. Let's see what we can do here. So the for example, eating significant amounts of saturated fats and avoiding unsaturated fats is one clause. Right? So we're going to have for example, and that's going to be our introductory part. So we need a comma, for example, comma, eating significant amounts of saturated fats and avoiding unsaturated fats. So that should be its own thing. For example, comma, so we're going to get rid of this. And then we really should not have this here, since this suggests a non-essential element, and we get many researchers believe that certain dietary choices, for example, eating, contribute to high cholesterol levels in the bloodstream. If eating contributed to high cholesterol levels, we'd all be dead right now. So I don't think that's true. So that's why A is incorrect. It takes out the wrong part for non-essential. And then we have it's bounded by 2 colons and bounded by two dashes. So this part, it's an example, right? So it's non-essential. So we use non-essential. When we have non-essential information, we use commas or dashes or parentheses to bound it off. We don't use semicolons. So here the answer is going to be dashes, since we don't have the option of commas or parentheses. All right, let's move on to the next question, number 8. Since cholesterol molecules do not dissolve in water or blood, they are also transported to various parts of the body by lipoproteins, which are constructed from both fat and proteins. So it's a plural because we're talking about molecules, which means that this one's going to be wrong. It is, right? And then here we see is and is. We're talking about are, right? We need are right here because it's a plural molecule. If we can't say that is, because that's singular, this is also singular. We have the they are, which is our correct plural. All right, and then question number 9. At this point, the writer wants to add details about the specific functions of lipoproteins. Which choice most effectively accomplishes this goal? So we're down here saying, when the concentration of LDL cholesterol is high, it may clog an individual's arteries and lead to a variety of medical conditions. So we want the specific function, so what it does. Choice A, well, it says many different types. So it says which types, not what we want here. We want what it does. And then choice B, well, the liver is the primary organ of lipoprotein synthesis. Talking about where it's synthesized, not what it does. And then here we have LDL, carry cholesterol into the bloodstream, and HDL, remove cholesterol. Seems to work. Right? It tells us that what LDL does, it tells us what HDL does. And then choice D says they're classified by density. It's not what we want. We want what it does, not how we categorize it. And then we move on to question number 10. And we have, notwithstanding the health risks associated with high cholesterol levels, it's important to remember that this molecule is integral to many necessary and vital life functions. We have to say necessary and vital. Doesn't that mean the same thing? Right? Necessary and vital mean the same thing. We don't need to say both of them. So we don't need to say both of them here. Right? It says necessary and vital in all of these. That's too much. This is a precision and concision question. We're just trying to make it as short as possible that still works. The shortest answer that works is what we're looking for. The shortest answer is integral to many necessary life functions. We don't need to say necessary and vital. We don't need to say integral and vital. Right? Which is integral. It's a core part of necessary life functions. But one adjective to describe the molecule and one adjective to describe the life functions, one for each. That's all we need. We don't need to repeat anything, and we can move on to our last question. Question number 11, which choice best concludes the passage? Consequently, it's important to fund further research initiatives that investigate the significance of this molecule. While that may be true, what we're really talking about in this passage is that cholesterol is good and can be bad if taken in too much. So we really need to think about how to maintain the right cholesterol levels. And we look at our answer choices, we see that looks like answer choice D. Right, C is a small unrelated piece of information. B is completely off topic from the passage, and A, we've already discussed, is also unrelated to the passage. So those are wrong, and our answer is choice D. That's it for this time, and I hope you'll join me next time when we keep looking at more of our argument passages. I'll see you then.